Hello and welcome to Tech Talk. Today we're going to be talking about all the great security things that's happening in the past month. We'll also be talking about some new features Microsoft rolled out and some updates. And the last thing we'll be talking about video conferencing systems, how you can remote and talk to many people throughout the world, US, local, however you want to talk to it, even by phone. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Talk. Glad you could stick around. So it is September of 2018 and we're talking about all the news that is news.
And today the sun is out and we've been pounded by rain, but we're not having any emergency conditions here.
No.
And I'm just amazed at what a great teaser that was by Dwayne. We've been remarking about, as we're getting ready, that is one of the best cell phone video pictures I've seen in a long time, sir.
It's just a phone. I did a video call once just like this, and a guy was out in the middle of a field, and he just said, it's just a phone and internet.
So I guess I can just scrap this whole studio and we'll just get phones, huh?
Yeah.
So October's Tech Talk will be out in the field. So. And where are you today, Dwayne?
Today I'm in Columbus, Ohio. I have to attend a couple of meetings, so I'm in a studio, if you would, but more of a classroom style studio. And I know we're going to be talking about video conferencing equipment or video connections even. So I thought maybe this room would be a good way that we could talk about old technology and new technology, how they merge together.
I think that's great. That's great. Typically we start talking a little bit about what's in the news because it is Tech Talk and trying to find out those things that have made the headlines. And to be honest, I felt that it was a rather slow month. But there's actually a lot of things that have gone on, and I haven't seen any horrible breaches or anything like that to capture the headlines. So we're just going to go down some of the slides that we pulled in for you and go through them. So first of all, the thing that I noticed was that Microsoft rolled out a service for managed desktops. And this would be for people and small businesses that actually don't have the IT staff to take care of their own equipment and want somebody like Microsoft to manage it for them. And it's probably an extension of their Office 365 package where they're selling email and Skype for Business and all those types of things.
Now, when you talk about manage for them, what does manage mean?
Meaning not only are they looking at your security, taking care of your downloads, making sure that everything is optimized and running properly, it puts folks like Dwayne and I out of business, I guess. I don't know.
They do your updates and...
Yeah.
Have you heard about it, Dwayne?
Yeah, some. I mean, but it's where they can manage multiple places, right, Kingsley?
Yeah.
And, like one company manages all kinds of other businesses or such.
We've seen businesses that have a remote site, their main IT shop, that takes care of doing updates, backing up their computers, making sure that the devices are safe and secure. But this probably takes it to another level. And we'll have to see what is released in the news about what those services are and what those prices are.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, yesterday I decided before I left work to let my phone and my iPad do its updates. And, there's some new features in it, but nothing too remarkable. What I look for in these new releases are optimization for battery usage. I'm always hoping that something will allow my phone to last a little bit longer online without being sent back to the charging room.
Yeah, one of the things was the camera launches faster. Like 50% faster. It's like instead of a second, it's like a half second. Like, yeah. I can really tell.
I have a different camera app that I use rather than the Apple camera, and I find that when I grab my camera and I want to hold it up and get a picture of something, it's already passed by the time my camera is ready to go. And I'll click the shutter button, I'll wait, I'll get discouraged, and I'll kind of put my phone down and take a picture of my foot.
And then click, yeah. Well, that's supposed to happen faster, the lag between the pressing of the button and taking the picture.
And you know, we've talked about all these things that phones are doing, and it's just absolutely amazing how they keep track of all of those background processes. And
well, and the last thing anybody ever talks about when they're talking about a new phone coming out is the phone capability. To everything else, you know, your movie watching and the screen and the battery life and all that stuff, but they never talk about using the phone.
They have a new thing in the settings called screen time, and it's supposed to allow you to get an idea of how much you're using your phone and how you're using it. During this morning, I was using mine 80% for reading and another 5% for something productive.
Well, I think part of that too is tracking your children and possibly being able to limit their time doing certain activities on the phone or
on
iPad or
on
other
my
things.
phone or on their phone.
On I guess theirs.
Give me your phone. Let me see what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Let's grab another slide, Pat. So, you know, we've talked about backing up stuff, making sure that you have a copy of all your data in case something goes wrong, like ransomware, and this
Especially
caught my eye.
photos. Because everybody's got photos. Nobody prints anything, so they're all on the computer. And if your computer gets trashed or whatever, your photos are gone. And that's, you know, if your house goes up in flames, that's the first thing people are concerned about is my pictures.
So this is not, you know, the only brand, but we have a picture of a Samsung portable SSD. It's a T5, meaning it's solid state. There's no moving parts. This is just a big, fat flash drive with a cable that you use. But the nice thing about it is that thing is as large as my entire desktop computer, and it's less than $100. For about $225, you can get a whole terabyte.
Just a terabyte. Okay.
Just a terabyte. Well, for you video guys, you need a lot of storage.
I need 2 or 3.
Well, you need a lot more than that, but you're not going to carry that in your pocket.
Right.
I mean, I can carry that in my pocket and go out and do service calls around campus and have a variety of type of stuff.
Yeah, I remember back when I had a Mac LC3 and I bought a 20 megabyte hard drive. I thought, I'll never run out of space. This is huge.
You know, the other thing that I noticed that was going to come up on my phone was the notifications, the emergency notifications. I was at a meeting the other day, and there was an Amber Alert that went off, and a lot of people got it in the middle of the night. So the thing that was in the news this week was that our president was going to use the emergency management to send out an alert through Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, and it would get to everybody's phones. Now, yesterday when I grabbed the slide, we were expecting this on Thursday. It's been postponed until October.
Oh, really?
The first thing I wanted to know is, how do I opt out of that thing? I don't want, you know, to get a test message. But, you know, we're doing a lot of...
It's good to know you get a test message.
We're doing a test message.
We do it every month.
We're doing one tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We're testing our Siren for emergency messaging, our desktop app. We're sending out text messages and emails to our students, faculty, and staff. And people like myself are going to be curmudgeons, and they're going to say, why did you have to interrupt my class? I didn't need that notification.
Silence it, and you know it's going to be there.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure that these updates don't prevent me from silencing. I mean, how would you like to be in a meeting, you know, Thursday morning, and all of a sudden everybody in the room has a notification going off?
Hey, if something's going on, you know, like a 9/11 event, who cares about the meeting?
Yeah, who cares about the meeting?
You know, really, at that point in time. So there are, if you get something from the president, it might be important.
Just like, have you caught my tweet this morning? Yeah. Okay, so the big news, and I'll let you handle all the new phones and their features and stuff.
Okay, so we've got new iPhones and new watches, and I think there's a little bit more going on with the watch as far as the health goes.
You can do an EKG by putting on the watch. And this is a leapfrog with Fitbit and Garmin and some of these other companies that now have wearables.
Yeah.
But that is an amazing thing, especially for people that have conditions that need to be watched.
Yeah.
And
I think it'd be a good idea for me, at
and
least.
yeah, for you.
Yeah. I'm out in the woods like, uh-oh. Well, and there's another thing where somehow it knows, and I guess they've had people test it, what a trip and a fall and a stumble or whatever, and the watch will record this. And if you fall and it records a fall and you don't move within 30 seconds, it will call EMS. But if you say, the fall thing comes up and it says, yo, you all right? And you go, sure, I'm fine, you get up, no problem. And then you can say, I don't need to call 911 or 911.
I think that's kind of amazing. But
yeah, that's good. I've fallen and I can't get up.
It'd get tired of me stumbling all the time. And the thing is, they have a lot more larger size phones now. And my little Model 6 still works. I can't justify a new one. But the pre-orders for these new models are just insane. And
is this going over well with the Model 10, the iPhone 10?
I know somebody with a Model 10. They needed to have a new phone, and they justified the expense.
Because they are expensive. Now you've got the new models, what's that called, the S? So you got the S and the S Max. And then you've got the R. So the S...
It's really expensive.
Yeah, it's like $1,000 and a little bit more for the Max. Those are the latest and greatest. But if you don't want to spend $1,000, if you max it out, about $1,500 for all the memory and the biggest one, which is as much or more than a laptop.
Have I mentioned what a good video signal we have from Dwayne's telephone out there on cellular?
And that's not an iPhone.
This is not an iPhone.
So
the
Dwayne,
other one, the R.
Less than $200.
Yeah.
Your phone, does it do wireless charging?
No, not by default.
Not by default? So the Samsungs and the new X models on Apple allow you to charge your watch and charge your phone by putting on a Qi charger, which means that there's no cables to plug in. That helps the phones to stay more waterproof, I would guess.
So you've got the R model, which is a step down that's a few hundred, maybe $250 cheaper than the other ones. And it has the same basic guts of the 10, but it cuts down on the screen. It's not an OLED, it's an LED. And it's funny that my 7 will have a better picture than the R model. This is 1080, and it's going to be 800 and something pixels. I don't know if my old eyes can distinguish that. I think some of the TVs and things are getting so...
At least we're not vain in wearing our glasses, right, Dwayne?
These
Absolutely.
are readers.
I don't know how you carry some of these new phones that are coming out. I mean, you're going to need a backpack to carry them.
Yeah, they call them phablets. A phone and a tablet kind of almost. Which is nice because still I need it big for my old eyes.
Okay.
But
so,
the frame is a different, I think it's aluminum instead of stainless steel.
It's going to be a two-handed phone.
Yeah.
So I noticed the other thing in the news is that couple years ago, I guess it was in 2013, Yahoo had a major breach. It's still one of the largest losses of personal information in history. And when they were approached by Verizon for a buyout, the question was, is Verizon going to be held culpable for the liability of that breach? Lo and behold, there's a new company called Altaba, which is a spin-off, and they're being saddled with the $47 million of liability claims against what was formerly Yahoo. So Verizon and Yahoo moved to the side. Altaba's left with $47 million.
So who sues them, or you know, who creates the liability claims?
I didn't get that far. I just think it's going to be probably class action claims when people actually did have their information used maliciously.
Okay.
But is it just the wonders of our legal system there? Another company called Path just called it quits. It was a wannabe social networking site. I never used it, so I'm not going to miss it at all. It's amazing what happens sometimes as these companies maneuver and work together. Microsoft is coming out with their new October feature update, which is a big upgrade of their Windows 10. And one of the things they did in their pilots was they said, oh, you know, if you're going to install Firefox or Chrome browsers, let's remind them how great our Edge browser is and discourage them from installing those other browsers. Not a real good idea. So they pulled that, but I'm glad somebody at least got a copy of that screen capture because good ideas
For
gone
some
wrong.
reason, it has never worked that well. I always call it Microsoft Exploder.
Ah, okay. Now we'll talk about how well Apple did with their iTunes content.
Now, I don't know what happened here because they put a lot of time in negotiating with all these companies to get licensing for all the content.
Okay.
And on the head end of all this stuff. What happened to what this is I guess some of them have backed out of it, right?
I think we've all gone to our satellite and cable systems and seen a screen that says, I'm sorry, but we can't show you that right now because we're negotiating. We're negotiating with these providers. And in the case of iTunes and Apple, they were notified by some of these content owners that they can't have an indefinite access to those assets. So in iTunes, which you buy that movie, but you don't hold it. You don't download it and carry it on your device. You typically have a record that says, oh, Kingsley bought Wonder Woman.
Yeah, stored in the cloud.
And then when you go to get it, you can't get it anymore because Apple doesn't have the rights to it. And I think this is going to be a new story that we're going to see a lot more of.
Do you think this is temporary like the cable companies do? It's like, hey, you better call your cable company to get this channel?
They put a lot of time in it, just like you said. And you know, there's going to be a lot of legal maneuvering over the long-term indefinite access to those videos.
So is it only video or is it including the songs and all that stuff too?
Whoa, I don't know.
Okay.
More to come. Dwayne, that's your homework assignment for next week here. Tell you
Now,
what,
another thing that's kind of connected to that, if you hadn't heard, is Article 13 in the EU. You heard about that, Dwayne?
it's the one that comes after 12.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, what?
I only made it to 12A.
Okay, what I think Article 13 is, I think it was spurred on by some of the memes, right? And how memes are hurtful. You know, how you will take a picture, somebody else's picture, and caption it with something else. So they are updating their copyright law.
Yep.
And making it so you can't use other people's stuff, right? Unless you own the copyright to it. So that will like shut down memes.
Gotcha.
Places like YouTube where a lot of people will comment, you know, and even on our video here, you didn't take all those pictures, so that would be content owned by someone else. This would be flagged possibly, but they may be looking to putting a lot of the responsibility, say like on YouTube, to go through and filter all this stuff out. And if you didn't make it, it will be shut down or not available in the EU. But as we all know, the internet is like worldwide, and that could do a lot of damage to the internet and content creators and making money off of YouTube and other things. I'm not sure.
I will be very saddened if Reddit, you know, is shut down because nobody can put in memes anymore. Hey, Dwayne, can you handle about the next 8 minutes on video conferencing?
Yeah, I think so. I might be kicked out here in about 5 or so. Looks like maybe they just a couple come to the door, but they walk back out. So
Well, put them on camera and we'll shame them.
Yeah, there you go.
So you're up in Columbus, and you called our Zoom session in a web browser, and as soon as you made connection to Pat's account, your video came up. And then we told you not to move your head because it's perfectly framed in your phone's camera.
Yeah. So what's going on here is there's lots of probably the first video conferencing mobile conferencing that we've ever went across is Skype. Everybody remembers Skype, how you could talk over the internet or have a one-on-one video conference like that, and it would work on lots of things. But back before that, there was video conferencing that we considered Kingsley and Mike hardware video systems. So you had a great big TV or a big box sitting beside of you, and it may be dialed out through phone lines that were dedicated to it, and you would connect to another big box in a camera, and you would talk over that, or a microwave system, things like that.
And you had to like make phone calls to make sure that this stuff was going in and out the right places, and you had to make these physical connections.
Remember the term bridge?
Yeah.
In multi-conference units?
Yeah, and it was expensive to do and to get that equipment. And as it went along, that's when Skype came about, and the iPhones came up with what's it called, Mike? It's not Skype. It's
the Polycom stuff.
Well, we have Skype for Business. You have Zoom. We're looking at so many other ones now.
Yeah, but iPhones have a dedicated
FaceTime.
FaceTime. That's what. Sorry, I don't have an iPhone, so I forget about that stuff.
It's your Google Hangouts.
Yeah, But that is probably the most prevalent thing that we all of a sudden seen from a phone, and we're like, whoa, that should be able to use on anything. And I think that's when you've seen more Skype, to where it would run on a mobile phone of anything, whether it was an iPhone or an Android or things like that. And then these other companies have come out, and Adobe came out with some video conferencing systems that were hard software based, where all you had to use was a PC possibly, but some heavier back-end equipment. And then it came along to Zoom, and now there's a couple other ones out there. But Zoom is probably my favorite right now. They offer a free account that you can get, and you can do a video conference for like 45 minutes or an hour on that, and then it just drops. But they don't charge you anything for it.
How many people can you connect to?
You can do I don't remember, 5 or 10 maybe. I don't remember that one. I think it's about 5. It might be 10.
Okay.
We're looking at something for our Blackboard learning management system, and there's just so many different choices. There's one that is owned by Blackboard, and it can handle up to 200 connections, and it records. But then we're looking at where those recordings sit, and whether or not you can send out a link so somebody can play it back. And with Zoom and Blue Jeans and so many of these others, WebEx, GoToMeeting, Life Size, it's hard to do a head-to-head comparison of the features and then look at the prices.
Yeah, right.
But what does your room do over there?
So this room, it was dedicated to hardware video conferencing systems, and what they've done is they've adapted it to be able to use Zoom or any kind of software instances. So they could literally convert it into a Skype, but they would have multiple cameras, and it ultimately feeds into one thing going through Skype or things like that. So as you see, I'm on a phone, and I have it just on a monopod and a little tripod on top of that holds my phone sideways. And what I'm able to do is I'm going to show you around, so it might be just a little shaky right now.
So you're not using the room?
I am not. No, I am not using the room. I'm standing right in the middle of the room. So just think of what you could do teaching with what I'm doing right now. If there was outside things that you were teaching about, say if you were a forester, animal science, or things like that, how you could teach this way even.
Is that a Zoom room?
Yeah, yes, this place is, yes. Yep.
That's your 3-minute warning.
So things like that. So in this room, they've attached several TVs to the wall.
That's the front of the room.
Yeah, and then what they do, they operate all of this equipment through a control room, which is over here. You can see the window.
Okay, so you need another person to deal with this, not just the instructor.
Well, yeah, you can, but what they've done is they've made it accessible to the teacher or instructor or anything like that, that they could literally connect up the Zoom connection through the podium that's right there. And they have a touch screen as well, just to the left here. And you just tap and say camera 1, camera 2, and that's how that works.
Or like display desktop, so you can show them some slides.
So you have a similar system up at the Worcester campus, for instance?
Yes.
At ATI?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this room and that room up north, they frequently connect, and they have classes here. But we could literally have we could meet anybody here in this room and Zoom out, if you would, and have an event just like this.
I know from watching your other shows, you Zoom with your guests often from around the state, and I think that's what it was made for. Yeah,
it's made so you don't have to travel. It's always nice to have that FaceTime, that one-on-one interaction or one-to-a-group interaction, right there. But, to build up to that one-on-one meeting or whatever, this works really well.
Yeah, we used to do it a lot with our exchange students from Wales. The instructors here could meet their students in Wales by talking to them over this. We've done interviews from people from New York and Europe and all over the place.
Yeah, I just want to see you Chromecast a background there so we can see you up on the oval next time.
Yeah, and actually, what the weird thing is, Zoom allows chroming. So if I didn't have time to pick a picture, I could and pick. I'd have to find a green background, but it does it. It's built into it. So, and one last thing I was going to think about is, so I'm just talking directly to my phone. I'm picking up the mic. The mic is on the phone, things like that. But there's hardware that would make you sound better or things like that. So here's a microphone that I could plug into the phone, attach it, like a lapel mic like you guys are having. So it wouldn't pick up some background noise or things like that. Maybe if you were outside, it wouldn't be as, you were picking up the wind. This would solve that issue.
Sounds good.
I know we're about out of time.
Yep.
So next month on Tech Talk, we'll have you out in the parking lot here behind Wood Hall.
There you go. I'll report on the trees and everything going on there.
All right.
The man in the field.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Yeah. All righty. Take care, guys.
And thank you guys for watching Tech Talk, and we'll see you next month in October.